page 100, May Tuck hits the man in the yellow suit in the head with the stock of the shotgun. If he didn't die, May wouldn't have had to go to the gallows. May can't go to the gallows because she won't die. On page 34, the Tucks are telling Winnie their story. Winnie has to decide whether to believe them or not. Winnie has a choice to make.
So choices. She's saying what choice you make affect what happens next.
Choices were a big part of it.
Choices were. Go ahead. Why? Tell me. If you could paraphrase it, it would be better. Kind of tell us your big idea.
When it tried to drink, the Tucks didn't have to tell her that the water was there. They could have just left her to drink it.
Oh, that would have been the Tuck's choice.
That would have been a horrible choice.
And
yeah.
They didn't have to hit him in the back of the head with the shotgun.
Okay.
They kind of did. I mean, he would have.
Well, she made the choice that kind of saved her.
But that was her
well, if we're
defending her
literal,
secret.
that means that
It's
everything
still
is
a
about
choice
choices.
to defend the secret.
Any book,
Well, they
anywhere,
know
it's
they
always
have
about
to.
choices.
Isn't it?
Yeah. Well, yeah, but then
in
it would
every
be like
book
the
you
worst
have choices.
project ever because we would all have to choose choices.
Not necessarily.
You're choosing what you want.
I have proof that in every book they have choices because in Artemis Fowl, in the book they had a choice to give the sprite the 2 potions and not just run away with the book.
Let's keep it with Tuck for the moment. Let's not go to other novels. Did you say choices?
Yeah.
You want to respond to
I
this?
didn't say choices.
But you want to have a bit of this conversation?
Yeah, because the choices you make will affect going back to time,
Right.
and the Tucks did, they didn't have to protect Winnie, they made the choice to.
Okay. Maddie, you chose choices. So?
Well, I chose choices because everybody in the book, they made choices at certain points. They, like Tuck, he could have just not talked to Winnie about that or anything.
Okay.
Or Winnie she could not run away and it would never happened at all.
That's right.
And she could have not poured the water on the toad. She could have kept it, but she chose to save the toad. And I think that kind of was a really good choice because she chose not. It kind of signified how she chose not to drink the water.
Okay. Kara?
Okay, so I'm working on the notes right now, and it says how many characters are affected by this theme? Wasn't everybody affected by this theme? Because the parents,
I did everything.
What do you guys think?
they had
I
the
did
choice
everything.
whether or not to control and
Okay.
so everybody.
Okay, so even Winnie's parents and grandparents had choices and that affected the outcome of the story? So if Winnie's grandparents and parents hadn't chosen to be strict, what would have happened? I'm on Jace here, he was kind of...
Or if they had
She would have probably ran away, and she wouldn't have been around as much, and she probably could have made her own choice.
Okay. But in the end, she did make her choice because she didn't like the choices her family made, and then that choice stumbled into seeing Jessie at the spring, and Jessie made a choice. Then they kidnapped Winnie. That was a choice. And then they rode by the man in the yellow suit, and she didn't call out and say, "Help! They're kidnapping me." That was a choice.
They weren't technically kidnapping because they actually asked.
That's true. They did ask.
And the toad decided to put his finger in front of his other finger. That was a choice.
What?
Did he do that in one of the parts where he'd move one of his things and he was and there was something and when he was
What other choices occurred, Tim?
He made the choice to walk. He made the choice
Man in
to
yellow
stay
suit,
there and get poured on
he had a choice if he wanted to go find Winnie and come to the work.
He had a choice about how he approached the Tucks, right? He could have done it differently and maybe not gotten plonked on the head.
The toad had the choice to keep coming back to visit Winnie.
The toad had a choice to come back to Winnie. Blake, you chose choices too. What do you think?
That just if Jessie didn't come down to Winnie and ask her what to do, then they might have. If she said yes, then they might have. The story would have gone off in a different direction.
Which time? When Jessie was giving her the water to drink, or when Jessie was asking her to help get May out of jail?
When she was sleeping at the Tuck's house and he came down and asked her.
He was very
Oh yeah.
Did anybody in the story not have a choice?
Well, Winnie's grandma didn't, or mom didn't show up.
Everybody has she decided to think it was elves.
Yeah.
I thought
That's a
that
pretty
was
good
the
idea.
grandma.
So,
She decided.
have we discussed that one enough?
But Toad didn't have a choice.
No,
Yeah,
he did.
He got grabbed through the fence.
Well,
Yeah, and
he had
the
a
water
choice
just
to
poured on
stay
him.
there.
Toad
He had a
really
choice
don't
to, like,
have a
fling.
choice.
The toad
Dakota?
Doesn't have a dog.
I think choices was the best theme because when Winnie had a choice to drink the water or not, and if she did, she would live forever.
The fish they caught.
Which goes around full circle back to Emma's concept of the time and the ultimate decision. She had the choice of how much time she wanted. So that ties your two ideas back together again. Okay. One of the next more popular choices was greed. And Jace and Kara, you thought greed was the theme. Okay, you want to talk about that? Okay. Go ahead.
So I thought it was great because like everything is kind of like greed, or everything, or every character was kind of like, not everyone, but most of them were like around greed somehow. Because the man in the yellow suit wanted to like sell the water for money, and the Tucks were trying to stop the greed. So it kind of was like, yeah.
But there's only really one person who was really greedy. I mean, there's not really that big of greed. Like, there's only a couple pages where greed was the main thing.
Oh, so you're saying that didn't occur throughout the whole story?
No, I think it only
Yeah, 'cause
occurred
the
like
Tucks
once.
were greedy.
And yet the man in the yellow suit's coming throughout the whole story because he's the,
But yeah, but half the
Okay.
time you don't even know why.
Yeah.
So that doesn't really mean
And
he's
the
a
greed
part of the
doesn't.
book.
The greed doesn't show up every time he comes. Greed only shows up when he tells them that he tells them.
When May hits him with a shotgun.
Yeah, when May hits him in the shotgun, when he tells them that they are.
Taylor.
I think greed made the man in the yellow suit die. He got hit in the face with a shotgun.
Did greed in the man and make the man in the yellow suit start tracking the Tucks down? Go to Winnie's fence the very first time looking for the Tucks? Yeah.
That's why he died.
Okay.
Well, I think that wasn't the main part of the story because there's only in a couple parts.
It wasn't the
And I think more of it would be like from Winnie was like the little girl who was like, yes mom, to the girl who's like, no, I'm not doing that.
So I heard Avery say it's not maybe the main theme, but it still's a theme.
Yeah, it's a good theme. But
It is a good theme, but maybe
It says-
not as...
It says pick your favorite theme, not pick the main theme.
Right, she picked the favorite one that she wanted to talk about. Go ahead.
Well, actually, greed. I think that greed is there, like throughout the whole book, because the Tucks are always like telling Winnie that like she shouldn't drink it, and that if she keeps the secret, then like it'll stop other greedy people that from like drinking the water and like.
So they're afraid of the greed.
It revolves around greed.
It does revolve around greed. Jace, you were the other one who chose greed. What would you share?
It's the same thing.
Same thing. Okay. Any other thoughts on greed before we move on? Sometimes a theme can be kind of quietly weaving its way through the story, and our bad guy, the man in the yellow suit, is operating from that perspective. And so if we didn't have the man in the yellow suit in the story,
It wouldn't be a choice.
greed wouldn't really be a theme, but in this case he brings that out.
Which means it's kind of a no.
No, it's a yes. It's a definite theme.
Well, yeah, I meant my no and like does it occur often?
Yeah, but it does because like without like greed was there kind of the entire time with the man in the yellow suit. Like,
Yeah, but
what I
half the
just
time
said.
you don't even know why, so there's really no greed in it
Well,
until
it-
you learn why.
No, like okay. So
It
then
was always
in
there.
the beginning, like when Tuck
So
is
don't
like
talk about it, so it's
when
not
they're all
worth
like
it.
in the when Tuck like takes Minnie out to the pond, he's like saying that you have to keep the secret because other greedy people like so it's to keep people from.
Well, no, it's not greedy people. It's people who are like excited because they can live forever, and they're like, "Hey guys, you can live forever," and everybody's
Well,
like,
Michaela, can you help these two break the stalemate? I'm leaning toward what Kara has to say. I hear what you're saying, Sam, but I think Kara has a good point.
Yeah.
I hear what you're saying, Kara, but
like the greed, if they don't really write about the greed in the book until the man in the yellow suit tells them, it really isn't there. Because just because the yellow man in the yellow suit is greedy, it doesn't say that he's greedy, therefore he's not
in the book.
Until
you
can tell
that in the
personality.
So you just took the book to a whole other level. It didn't say the words greedy until toward the end, but is it possible for a theme to be there based on how a character behaves, even though the book doesn't use the words he was greedy?
No, really.
Tessa.
I think the man in the yellow suit was greedy because...
Well, we agree.
Because, even though it didn't say it,
Well, my question is, does the book have to make it that clear for it to still be a valid theme?
No.
It can be sneaking around down in those layers, can't it? So I think, Kara, you have a great theme.
But I think he seems a bit more creepy at the beginning than really greedy.
I agree with you because he's not acting. His personality isn't acting greedy. It's acting like stalking, interested,
Until the end.
being nice. He's nice to Winnie. He talks to her friendly. Talks to the mother friendly until he tries to take Winnie back to the house.
Then we know what motivates him.
But he only talked to her to get what he wanted, to find the tux.
Emma, you've been
So
real
that's
patient.
Okay, I agree with Michaela, Kara, and Sam, but I also disagree with them because one, with Kara I agree because it does mention greedy, like just in the end of the book, but it still mentions it, but it's not throughout the whole book. Like, when he said he's just gonna sell it to certain people, like, and then I disagree because I agree with Michaela and Sam because in the beginning of the book, it's like the greed isn't there until the middle end of the book.
We sort of have to draw a conclusion.
Yeah, but it's not in the book.
I know,
We think it is,
It's in
though.
the world.
And I think it's okay to disagree on this one. I think that's okay. Kara, let's wrap up what your thought is.
Okay, so the greed is, well, I thought that like the greed was there in the beginning because like even like after we read like the ahead when the man in the yellow suit came to Winnie and he was like asking about the family and stuff, I kind of thought it was greedy because it was for his own needs and or like sure. Yeah,
Well, anybody asks for help.
So in the final act of the
he
book,
was like asking, oh, and like when he was asking for the forest and like the trade for Winnie and the forest, that was really greedy.
Because he didn't even give him a chance. He just
No,
took
it's
the
just
woods.
blackmailing.
It was
what do you think, Brayden? You've been quiet. What do you think about greed?
I think it's unfair that the man in the yellow suit was taking advantage of it.
Okay. And why was he trying to take advantage of them?
Because he wanted the water.
Because he wanted the water. And why did he want the water?
Because he's greedy.
So he could
To
get
make
money.
Up to then, I think that up to then he was starting to be greedy, but I don't think it occurs through the whole book.
And I think I hear Kara saying that he was behaving the way he was because in the back of his mind he was
wanted the
greedy
water.
from day one.
He didn't know that until
But
who
I
the
mean,
city
you
was.
kind of thought that he was greedy throughout the entire time. Like when I was
Let's
reading,
go to the back cover.
Let me say this, Sam. Is it possible,
I can
is it possible for somebody to draw a conclusion about a character early on, even though the book doesn't state that he wanted to sell it and make money and that he wanted all that other stuff? Is it possible that Kara came to that conclusion on her own? Is that possible? Just yes or no? Is it possible?
It's possible, but
You did not, but
But-
she did.
when I was thinking, it didn't seem like he was a greedy person. It seemed like he was just a creepy guy.
Right, we're agreeing to disagree here.
Yeah, I
Okay.
agree with Sam. I agree with Sam.
And
I
that's
mean, he
fine.
seems to be a
Yeah,
guy
throughout
who's
the
sneaky
whole
with
book.
his stuff.
Time out.
Wasn't really.
Your job isn't to convince Kara that her theme idea is wrong. You're supposed to share opposing ideas, and we kind of agree to disagree on this one. And I think that's perfectly fine, because reading a book is personal. That's why there's so many choices, and that's why you voted the way you did, is because it's personal. You had choices. Kara made a choice. And I don't think it's up to us to convince her that her choice is wrong. I'd like to move on so other people have a chance, because I think we're going to beat this one to death.